We're on.
All right, we are live on Facebook. So excited to come to you today with our Wellness Wednesday. We have a special guest today, and we're super excited for you to meet her. We're going to talk all about the benefits of kombucha and making it at home. And so I just want to let you know how I met Jeanne, I call her the Martha Stewart of Cincinnati because she does so many cool things. She not only makes her own homemade kombucha, she raises chickens, she makes sourdough bread, she decorates her house in amazing ways. And I just have so much respect for her. So, in all things like Martha. So anyway,
That's awesome.
yeah, and I met her in one of my fitness classes, and so she's dedicated to fitness too. So what's not to like, right?
Yay.
Yay! All right, so Jeanne, why don't you
Hey,
tell
well, thanks
us?
for having me. And I missed taking your classes. You were always, I honestly, like, ever since COVID, they snagged you away from us. So I'm here to talk to you about basically my journey with kombucha and how I make it and kind of what I've learned along the years. I've been making it, I thought, 10 years. And I thought 2016, no. It's probably been more like 15 years ago.
Wow.
I took my first class. I took a fermenting class at Turner Organic Farm. We made like kombucha for sure. And then they sent us home with a little tiny ball jar with a little SCOBY and a little bit of starter tea. And we tasted several different flavors. I think we made sauerkraut and I think something else. I can't remember.
Can you tell us what kombucha is first?
Yep. And that's where I'm going. So what is kombucha? So kombucha is a fermented, slightly effervescent. It's a sweetened black or green tea known for its prebiotic properties and tangy taste. The production, it's made by adding SCOBY, which stands for symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, and often is called the mother. So, and I'll go into explanation about that when I talk about how I make it. The SCOBY and starter tea that ferments the tea that you brew, which is sweetened, and it's basically known for its benefits to your digestive health. The yeast component breaks down sugars into alcohol, which then the bacteria oxidize to acetic and other acids, resulting in a tart beverage. So it has super trace amounts of alcohol. It's not anything that you would drink in place of beer or wine. It's very minuscule. And what's strange is you'll research kombucha and they'll say what you need to start is you need that SCOBY or the mother, and what you also need is the starter tea. And actually you can brew your kombucha without a SCOBY. You don't have to have one. It will grow its own SCOBY. That's why it's called a mother, because even though in your vessel, depending on what size it is that you're brewing it in, you put the SCOBY in and it will grow another one. You'll have 2 SCOBYs by the time you have fermented this batch of sourdough. So the taste and appearance, it is often bubbly and it has a unique flavor profile, often described as tangy, sour, or cider-like. And really where you get that bubbly flavor or the bubbly texture is in the second fermentation, which I'll go into as well. So the history of kombucha, I think this is kind of interesting to go into. People have been making kombucha for a very, very long time. The drink spread through trade routes to Russia and Eastern Europe and was widely used in ancient origins like 221 BCE, originating in China during the Qin dynasty. And it was cherished for its supposed immortality boosting properties. And the Dr. Kombu legend, it is believed to have been brought to Japan in 414 CE by a Korean doctor named Kombucha, who treated the Japanese emperor. The name kombucha is said to derive from kombu and cha, tea, kombucha.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah. Spread to Germany in the early 20th century, like a modern reemergence after a decade or decline during World War II due to ingredient shortages. It regained popularity in Europe and the US during the 1990s as a touted probiotic health aid. Health claims It's known as a probiotic health booster. It is consumed to aid digestion, immune system support, and detoxification. Today, kombucha is a massive global market, often commercially available with added flavors, though it remains a popular home-brewed traditional beverage. And I tell people, I've met people at the grocery store, they're buying it, and you're spending all this money. And you had talked to me like, oh, what are the good brands? And I don't really know. Like, and you can get whatever flavors you want. And that's where the flavors come into in the second fermentation. And you spend these people, I mean, they come in usually 16-ounce bottles. And a lot of times people will drink half one day and half the next. And I don't know how much they run, but it's expensive. I mean, just kind of like going to Starbucks every day, it's a lot.
So Jeannie, Mike, I have a question off the bat here. So yeah, and a lot of them in the stores too are full of sugar, like lots and lots of extra sugar. Okay. So you got to watch that. But what made you specifically, or was there something specific that made you want to start doing this at home?
So I've always been interested in like gut health and eating healthy, working out, that kind of thing. So I think basically, and I'd never consumed it before I went to Turner Farm, but I went to the class and they talked about all the benefits and it tasted good. And I thought, well, I mean, why not add this to my daily regimen? And my husband started drinking it as well. So yeah, it was just a matter of seeking healthy alternatives to different foods.
Yeah. And have you had any side effects from it? Like, I know some people say digestive issues, bloating, stuff like that. I'm just thinking of questions that people might be thinking when they're out here watching.
Right. And I'll cover some of that also. I've got some of these things covered, but you don't drink like the 16-ounce bottle. You don't drink the whole bottle.
Gotcha.
So, you want to start out small, like 2 ounces, 4 ounces, and it can upset some people's stomach. Some people have things. I've never had any issues with it whatsoever.
Good to know, because I've chugged a whole bottle before.
That's not good.
But it never made me sick.
That's good. That's good.
I was fine. That's a good thing to know. But I'm glad I asked.
Calories, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I don't know what to compare it to. Something that's healthy that you just don't like. You like a grapefruit, don't eat 5 of them.
Okay. That's right.
I mean, that's kind of extreme, right? Whole grapefruit is a lot, So, right. So making kombucha at home involves fermenting this sweetened tea with a SCOBY, again, the symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. That's SCOBY, and it's spelled in caps, and the starter tea. And the starter tea is actually what you end up with after somebody will give you that, you get that, and you brew your tea, your sweetened tea, you add it to your tea and let it ferment for X amount of time. And then at that time, it becomes starter tea. Okay.
So sweetened tea, what if you use unsweetened tea?
Well, you can't use unsweetened tea. Sorry, I have to blow my nose.
It's okay.
I've been sneezing and my allergies.
Allergy season.
Great. What's going on? But so you have to have the sugar in it. Okay. And it's not a lot of sugar. And I'll talk to you about how many cups of water and whatnot and how much, and I'll get to that where how much, depending on how long you let it go to ferment, it eats away the sugar.
Gotcha.
Right. And so, in a lot of times, so that's the fermentation, the first fermentation, and it's unflavored. And that one will not usually have a lot of like the carbonation to it. And I've got other friends that say I'm fine. That's how they like it. They just bottle it and don't flavor it. And by adding in that second fermentation, you are adding fruit and you're adding juice to it, which adds the sugar. So I go a little bit longer in terms of mine. So
gotcha.
Yeah, but you have to have the sugar because that's what feeds the bacteria and yeast. Okay. So typically in recipes, you'll see ferment for 7 to 21 days. I always go longer. And what you can do is you can take a straw and dip it at 7 days, and then at 14 days, or 21 days. And as it goes further, it gets less sweet. It gets more tart. I go usually a month or 2. And I've even gone longer and it's been fine. I think one time in 15 years, I was like, oh, I forgot about it, got busy. And it was like 4 months. And it was like, oh, yeah, it's like, it's almost vinegarish. And then you can use it as a replacement for vinegar.
Oh, wow.
So I have another question since you said that, leaving
Mm-hmm.
it go. So contamination, because I know I've read things about, I heard people, oh, you shouldn't make it at home because of contamination. So is there validity to that? Or do you?
Well, the only kind of contamination I know about is because it's the sweeter tea, and you can have things get in there, fly in there, and then all of a sudden you've got worms. You know what I mean?
Oh, gotcha.
And I'll get to that too, because when you're looking at different vessels that you ferment in, this one has a case where you literally put water into it, and then you put this, and it's got holes so air can escape and no bugs can get into it. And then if you're, as you're starting out, you have a one gallon jar. I always recommend using, and you'll read about this too, either a cloth or like a coffee filter. And I would use 2 or 3 rubber bands.
Okay.
Because I've had a rubber band break and I haven't had an issue with it, but you're like, oh, insurance, you know what I mean? Like rubber bands break.
Sure.
And that's why this kind of a thing is much safer. But you have to keep it, water dissipates, you have to keep an eye on making sure that the water does not evaporate. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I wondered where it came from. So that answers it. Thanks.
I mean, that's the only kind of thing that I can think of. And they do talk about how you shouldn't put it really near a lot of other plants. And maybe that's again, the same reason for bugs, you know what I mean? Like, but it's really, you keep it away from plants. You wouldn't put it in, I put it in my upstairs closet, and I do have a couple plants, maybe 5 feet away from it, but you wouldn't keep it real close to plants.
Okay.
Yep. So the fermenting for the 7 to 21 days, and this is what I've got off the internet. These are not my facts. Like, I'm not a scientist, but it usually consumes about 50 to 70% of the sugar, while a 30-day fermentation can reduce sugar by roughly 80%, transforming most of it into acids. So it'll be tartar. And I like it better like that. I don't like sweet tea, but that's just me,
That's why I ask about the unsweetened, because I don't like sweet tea.
Right? No, I don't like sweet tea at all.
Yeah.
I don't. And I really
good to know.
And again, I don't like sweet tea, so I go longer. And keep in mind that if you're going to flavor your kombucha in the fermentation, second fermentation, you're going to be adding fruit juice, sugar to it. Okay. And so you can simply taste your kombucha every 7 days, or every, if you go 7, 14, 21, and then you're every 2 or 3, or however many days you want, until you feel like you like it. So to begin your kombucha making, I usually say to start small. You really want to start with like a gallon glass jar. And I have 2 of these because I used to brew 2 separate gallons. And this one covers 3 gallons. And I got it at Listerman's, which is sadly not there on Dana anymore. Oh, I mean, I think their whole restaurant closed. So I think the brewing place closed as well. That's what I believe. But anyway, so you start with a glass jar. And I use these because as I brew my tea in my coffee maker, I pour it in here to cool it down. Okay. So that, and then I still use those all the time. So you want to use black or green tea, and I'll talk about that in a little while. Sugar, water, starter tea, along with the SCOBY. And after primary fermentation, it can be bottled with fruit. And it says for 3 to 5 days for carbonation, but sometimes, like lately, I check it after 4. And these are the different bottles that I use. I really like these. They're wine-sized bottles. They're thin, so they don't take up a lot of space, and they can be put on a door or in the back of or on my top shelf of my basement fridge, versus a smaller one. This is a 16 ounce. So this one's got some kombucha in it. And then you can also use other flip top bottles. I thought I brought another one up that are larger, but you cannot use the square ones. And I'll talk to you about why you can't do that as well. So to begin with, you need that glass 1 gallon jar. The type of the tea that you want to use is black or green in kombucha because they provide necessary nitrogen, caffeine, and tannins to feed the SCOBY, that symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, ensuring healthy fermentation and a stable pH. Black tea creates a robust tart blue, while green tea produces a lighter, mild, and offer faster fermenting beverage. I've used both. I use hibiscus now. It's organic hibiscus. It's not really a tea, but you can use it in replacement of that. And I was just telling Kim with, when you research things after you do it for a while, then you look at the reasons why things are done. And it talked about, and I'll get to this, like the caffeine in teas. It is not strictly necessary for making kombucha, but it is highly beneficial for the health and vitality of the SCOBY, which would also mean the starter tea. While caffeine-free herbs can be used, using caffeinated tea, black or green, provides essential nutrients that aid caffeine-free. I don't know why it says herbs. I think it meant tea. Well, caffeine-free teas. You can put herbs in the second fermentation. I copied and pasted this from the internet, and I think that was a mistake on their point. So that caffeine it aids in essential nutrients that aid the fermentation and ensure long-term culture health, which is really important.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to you about storing extra. You want to store extra tea and SCOBY and all that stuff. So the type of the tea, the caffeine in tea, and again, the black and green tea, the reason why you don't use flavored teas, because it can weaken, contaminate, or even kill the SCOBY over time because oils and flavorings block oxygen, hinder bacterial growth, and promote mold. So that's really bad. I think one time in the 15 years I had mold, and that's and again, when you're first making it and you're seeing the SCOBY grow and yeast will drop and it can look like a tornado in there and all this crazy stuff. But then when you see mold, you're like, oh man, you have to dump it. So,
yeah.
So essential oils in flavored teas like Earl Grey choke the culture, while herbs often lack the necessary nitrogen for SCOBY to thrive. So the herbed teas. So once you make, and I will give you the recipe. I've got it. Kim's going to post it.
Yep.
Awesome.
And I'm happy I'll walk you through that too. I'm just kind of giving you the overview on what I do. But the second fermentation, that's the fun part for me. And it's the most work, because really what you do when you do the F1, you're just basically brewing tea. You are taking sugar and you're dissolving it in water, cooling it all down. And then you throw it into a vessel with the SCOBY and the starter tea, and you put a date on it. You want to know the date, you mark it on your calendar. And I mark myself to look at it and consider it in about a month and put it away. But then when it comes time for the F2, that's when you get to choose what you like, what kind of fruit juices you like. Do you like pineapple? Do you like orange? It'll be summer. I'll do lemon basil. When you've got fresh herbs, I always add herbs to mine, and I'm sure a lot of people don't. It's fine. You can do whatever you like. And I'll talk to you about the different fruits and things that work better too. But so F2 kombucha, the second fermentation, is the process of flavoring the kombucha and sealing it in the bottles. And again, it says 1 to 4 days. This is what I got off the internet, but sometimes it takes longer. What I do is I check it every 3 or 4 days, and I'll, like this one, if it was a circular one, you have to fill it up to the top right up here. And I'll talk to you about why you do that too, but it'll be all labeled and all filled up. And I come and I pop it. And if it goes, whoosh, and I see a bunch of bubbles come up, I'm like, yes, clamp it down, and it goes in the fridge and you're ready to go.
Nice.
And you have to be careful also when you open it, because sometimes it's really fizzy here. And so if you go to open it, it can just pour out. So if you're unsure, a smart thing to always do, because it's not going to explode. I've never had it like spout out, but it would almost like a seeping volcano. I put it in a bowl like this, and I put a sandwich bag over it. So it will keep it all. And usually by the time it's all done, by the time or it's not really pouring out so much, and I clamp it back down, it's maybe 2 or 3 ounces that have come out. I just drink that.
Oh.
So
And you said you've done this for 14 years. Is that what you said?
Probably about 15 years.
Yeah, and you pick up all these little smart tips there.
Right. And I've had people like where if you don't do it correctly, if you don't check it every 3 days, or like they've had things explode. And that's one of the things where you cannot use a square bottom, like because things, and who wants an exploded, by that time it's a sweetened beverage, but not too sweet. Like you and I, we don't like sweet tea, and Kim, you probably don't either.
Yeah.
I don't want that all over my counter and kitchen, and what a mess. You know what I mean? And that's dangerous, right?
Yep.
But so the F2, so X amount of days until you get the carbonation that you want. It follows the initial fermentation 1 and involves adding fruit, juice, or spices, herbs to create that bubbly, flavorful beverage. And then about how much to drink. Most people drinking 4 to 8 ounces of kombucha daily is safe and beneficial amount to support their gut health. If you're new to it, you start with 4 ounces, maybe 2.
Or if you're me, you drink the whole thing.
And hope for the best. I've never, I don't know, like, again, and it is sweeter than a, non-sweetened tea, but it tastes good. It does have that carbonation. Yeah. And I feel like I drink it in the morning before I eat anything or before my coffee or anything.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And so you start with 4 ounces, 2 ounces to let your stomach adjust. Make sure you're fine with it. 12 ounces considered a safe upper daily limit. Drinking more can lead to excessive consumption of sugar, acid, and calories. Right.
Gotcha.
And so key considerations for daily intake. Start small, begin with 2 to 4 ounces. Daily maintenance, a standard serving is roughly, it says 8 ounces. I think more like 4 to 8 ounces, which is 8 ounces, half of that typical commercial bottle. Who should avoid? Pregnant people, young children, and those with weakened immune systems should avoid kombucha due to it being unpasteurized. Timing, it can be drunk daily, but moderate intake is key. Some people split a single 16-ounce bottle over 2 days. Most store-bought bottles contain X amount of 16 ounces. Okay, and so these square bottom bottles, it is kind of the same thing with, you have got to fill it up because you don't want extra air, and you don't want the square bottom jars are generally avoided because during the F2, they cannot handle the internal pressure of carbonation, which also often results in a bottle bomb. And you don't want to.
Whoa.
Yeah. And same with when I first started, and I was posting on this obviously they didn't make it clear. They probably told me, but you're listening and you're not really listening. They didn't make it extremely clear. You're filling your last bottle and you're up to here. Well, that's fine. You can put that guy in the fridge, but you can't let it sit out and get fermented more. You can't let it, because of all this air, leaving a large air pocket, too much head space in a kombucha bottle during secondary fermentation can lead to excessive uncontrolled carbonation buildup, increasing the risk of bottle explosions. While some space is needed to prevent overpressurization, too much air allows more room for CO2s to build up, risking messy and dangerous bottle bombs.
Okay. So, Jeanne, do you refrigerate during the F2, the fermentation?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I put it on my counter. It's always so pretty. I'm okay, I'll put an alarm on my phone every 4 days, check it, because otherwise I forget.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, for me, that's important. So, and here's the recipe for it. And then I'll talk to you about the F2. So basically you take 14 cups of filtered water. And I used to use filtered water, and now I just use regular tap water, divided. And 2 is I take this guy, if I'm going to make 1 gallon, put two cups of water in here and 1 cup of sugar, and just slowly dissolve the sugar, turn off the heat. I literally cover it, because think about in the summer when there are more bugs around, you don't want anything landing in that sweet water,
right?
Sugar water. And then I take my coffee maker and I make with the other 12 cups. And so this says, I've read where you use 8 or 10 bags of tea. I've always used 6 bags of tea, which is equivalent to me with a hibiscus. I do like 1/8 of a cup of those loose flower leaves. So you brew that, and then you put it all, say, in here, and you let it get to room temperature, covered. You don't want anything to be able to get into it. Once it's like 70 degrees or the degree of your house, then you can add that 1.5 cups to 2 cups of starter and the SCOBY if you have it. You don't have to have the SCOBY because it will grow a SCOBY. And this is, once you start doing this, and then say you do this and you've got 3 gallons, and I've got like 30 jars up here. Some are this size, some are bigger, some are smaller. And you kind of keep track, like I've got a document, like for 2 gallons this, but it also depends on if you're going to save like 4 cups or 3 cups if you're going to brew 2 gallons next time. Because if you're only going to brew 1 gallon, you only need to save 1.5 cups. So you end up with SCOBY hotels. And that's what these guys are. And I don't know if you can see that. There's a tiny little SCOBY that's growing.
I see. Yeah.
Oh man. Yep. It looks like a one of those jellyfish.
I know. Well, look at this one. There's another one that grew right on top. There's a thick one here.
Yeah.
And these are older ones. I literally I see people that have these ball jars like this, and they're full of SCOBYs. I'm like, what are you doing? I need to go in there and clean this out, like, and chop it up. I feed it to my chickens. They eat it. Or you can put it in your plants or your garden.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
But there's I'm not going to eat the SCOBY.
Mm-hmm. It won't hurt you, right? It wouldn't hurt you.
I don't think so, but I don't want to eat it. It's not really the texture, like the flavor.
Is it okay if I tell a funny story about it? So okay. In full disclosure, before COVID, I wanted to learn about kombucha. And so I went over to Jeannie's house, and she walked me through how to do it and stuff. And she told me what to get this. And I bought this huge gallon jar like at Walmart or something. And I think I brought it to your house or whatever you gave me something. Anyway, you told me how to grow the mother. And I think you gave me a baby.
Yeah. Well, I gave you, or the baby or the mother, either one.
You gave me a baby.
That's the mother. Yeah.
So anyway, I do what she says. I put in this jar. She said, put it in a closet and don't worry about it for a while. And so I put it in a closet. It's dark and I don't go in very often. It's more of a storage closet. And I totally forgot about it. And I went and I thought, oh my gosh, what do I have growing down there? And so I went to the closet. I pulled out this big jar. It was the hugest mother I've ever seen. It was probably 8 months later. And I was like, holy cow, what do I do with this?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I called Jeannie in a panic. I said, I don't know what to do with this. It's like alive and it's growing. And would you want it? So I took it over to her house. She goes, oh my gosh, this is one of the healthiest mothers I've ever seen. So
That's
you remember
awesome.
that?
I do. It's
so funny. So I just gave her the whole thing. I said, I'm done. I don't want to make any kombucha.
Well, and at that point, so just for people to know, like if it was sat for that long, all of that tea would really you could use that as a starter tea, and that would be a really strong tea. You might want to use just 1 cup in a gallon. You know what I mean? Because you wouldn't, to take that and to add flavoring to it, that would have like some of the vinegary flavor to it.
That would have been, pretty far gone.
Too strong. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty strong. Anyway, it's like I got so afraid of it. I thought I don't think I made it out to make kombucha, but I may try it again.
Well, you just set that alarm or write it on your calendar or something.
Exactly. And you said write it on your calendar. That's exactly what I should have done.
I do, like in big black Sharpie. I'm like, 1 month, booch. Go check it.
Yeah.
But so after you do that and you get it to that the temperature, you again, this is where we talked about. You put the coffee filter on it if you're brand new, and 2 or 3 rubber bands. Okay. And then it doesn't have to be dark, but it should be out of the light, and it should not be, it should be in a warmer area, not cold. Mm-hmm. It'll take longer to ferment if it's cold. Literally, people will, you see that with sourdough starters and stuff. They'll wrap lights around it. I do have a seedling starter mat, which I don't ever use for my seeds. I usually often plant them just right outside, but I'll wrap that around my sourdough or my kombucha if it's like 20 degrees out, And upstairs it's like 60 something, you know what I mean? I feel like, okay, we need to get you warmer.
Yep.
So, so that's basically making that first gallon. I think I basically talked about it. And some of this stuff says, and this was, I think, part of this, this is the kombucha recipe that you're going to post. And it's so funny because I'm like, oh my gosh. So number 4, gently stir the entire contents, whatever. I don't even stir it. I just dump it all together. And then it's like, take a pH reading. I remember that I was buying these pH things, and I do that for my hot tub, but I bought these silly pH. I don't test the pH. I don't.
Okay.
If you're doing it the way it's written, 1.5 cups of starter tea, and you see it growing, whatever, you're fine. And I've had people say, should I add vinegar if it's not like getting tangy? No, you don't ever add vinegar.
Okay.
And I did put in here, I personally never touched the pH. So set it in a warm location out of direct sunlight for 7 to 30 days. On day 7, you begin tasting it and whatnot. So, and then once you reach when you go, oh, it tastes good, which I don't, at this point, I don't do it. It's like a month, 2 months, 6 weeks. I'm like, I have time. Okay. I gotta go buy some pineapple juice or grapefruit juice, or I got to juice lemons. Like, it's whenever you have time to do it, which is, I think, is a good thing about it. It's not like we talked about sourdough where you better do it now. It's at the right, it's at the right stage. Exactly. Like within a few days on kombucha, you're fine.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry. That's good to know.
Yeah. And so the F2, and so I really think that this is the fun part, because so what you can do is you decide what flavors you like. Somebody would say, do you want this mango? I'd say, no, I don't like mango. I like papaya. I may. So, and another thing you can add. So this shows you, this is a pineapple one. And can you see the stick of pineapple? So I take take a pineapple, and pineapple holds up really well in kombucha. And this is some sage. And what's here at the bottom is just like some of the sediment and stuff like that from the juice. It's kind of like it's the fermented thing. And again, this will start stirring it up, and you can see the bubbles. I don't know if you can.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Kind of be careful. Like if you would shake this up, then you would get carbonation. You going outside and open that up, because it's like champagne. You know what I mean?
So you don't want to shake it up.
You do not want to shake it up. And this one.
And do you put that flavoring? Sorry, do you put the flavoring right in the bottle?
Yep. Or I'll tell you exactly how to do that. I'm kind of just yes. And again, this has got the you can't see it. It's a little darker. It's got the pineapple, and I also put fresh ginger in there. And I've had even people who really like ginger, ginger flavoring, and you could probably kind of grind it up and put it in there. Like that would be it. And then there's all sorts. I used to have all these tiny, I'm sure they're down in the basement, but teeny tiny strainers that to pour out, so it would save it from getting there. But you can put whatever you want. So the fruits I wanted to talk about real quick is, like, strawberries don't hold up. I would not eat a strawberry that sat in my kombucha. You could eat that pineapple. I don't. But the fruits that are really good to eat, that hold up really well, are like citrus. So grapefruit, rosemary, those grapefruit chunks are so good. Lemon is very tart, and orange is really good. And then you have to think about fruits like blueberries. You got to burst them open, because they've got that skin that's going to hold on to that. Like it's not going to like leach out whatever kind of sugars are in there so much. And those blueberry, so I just I've tried. I think I've got a document. I should have looked at that, because it probably had the first date that I did it, because that's the kind of person I am. And I've written down all the flavors that I've ever tried, but any flavor of fruit that you want. So that's the second fermentation. So for this, I have a cheat sheet right here. So kombucha notes, like these wine bottles get 5 ounces of juice. And the small flip bottles, these guys get 3 ounces of juice. And I've got multiple other sizes, and I've got notes how much. So what you do, as you were just talking about, like, do you put it in the same bottle? How do you do it? So you take an empty bottle, okay? and I'm going to take, you use a funnel and you put in 5 ounces of juice. Okay. And then say for example, oh, this guy needs to be washed again. But say you're doing pineapple or grapefruit or whatever it is. You put in that grapefruit juice and then you chunk in some fresh grapefruit chunks. Like take off all the membrane, and I'll put in maybe 2 or 3, depends, 3 or 4 in the bigger ones. And then I julienne ginger root, throw that in. And then I put in a sprig of rosemary into my grapefruit one. I like that a lot. I like grapefruit and rosemary. And then after you do that, and you'll kind of go, look at my notes. I go, okay. So 2 gallons, I use about 8. I don't use these jars so much. The apple cider vinegar jars, you know what I'm talking about? Like the,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this
Brags. Yeah.
Yeah. I usually have Bragg's. This is Kirkland, but these are great ones to use. They're strong enough and they have a good lid on them. Instead of going out to buy all these, I used to have a whole bunch of these, and the flip ones, I think they ferment faster because it's really locked down. But these are great. So for example, I know that if I have a 2-gallon batch, probably, and it doesn't say this here, but like if I save enough liquid to make another 2 gallons, then whatever it was, then I need 8 of these and then 1 small flip. And then I've used up all of it. But so you'll end up with extra sometimes. And again, you don't want to fill that jar half up. That's where you put your hotel. And so that gallon that you make, you're going to really need to start a SCOBY hotel anyway, because you got to have a backup in case anything goes wrong for at least 1 gallon. And that's why I even have more. I've got another one downstairs of more in case anything would happen to it, mold or, somebody got in there and goes, what is this? And then opened it.
Yeah.
And, why did you touch that or whatever? So you do that. You add your juice, your fruit pieces, your herbs if you're using them, and ginger if you want to. And then you add it and you fill it all the way to here. And then you wipe it down. I leave it all here because it's going to drip a little bit somewhere. And you wipe all the bottles down and you wipe all the tops off clean. And then you secure them. Okay. And then you go for like 3 or 4 days.
Nice.
Yeah. Wow.
Hey, so since you've been doing this so long too, another thing that I read was about the tooth enamel. But you've been doing this for 14 years. Have you had any issues with it?
I haven't. So if you're talking about like chewing on lemon slices or something like that.
Yeah. It just says it can wear on it.
I
take your tooth enamel.
And again, I don't drink a ton of it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Have like shoot it, if anything.
So you do like 2 to 4 ounces a day? Is that what you do? You said? Okay.
I read that that's about right to do that, 4 ounces.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so good.
I mean, like in some of the people, and I tried this once and it just didn't work for me. And like at Turner, they're like, I love it with my tequila. And I was like, oh, that would be really fun.
We lost her.
And I was like, it just was like wrong for me because I just was like, this is the healthiest beverage. Not like, I mean, I know alcohol's fine, especially limited to quantities, but it just didn't, like it didn't jive for me. I'm like, oh, I have my margarita by itself. But like people would say they'll drink it like that. And I'm like, okay, I just drink mine in the morning and I'm not drinking any alcohol with that. So
that's kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah. Let me see if I'm going to miss anything. Cause I basically said that, I use about, so I told you about the wine glasses and the flip, like how many ounces. So I've tried 20 and I've tried 25%, and 25% was a little bit too much sugar for me, too much fruit juice. So depending on the ounces, how many ounces of your bottle it holds, I personally, what works for me is 20% juice.
Okay.
And then, excuse me, then you're putting in, some fruit and herbs and whatnot. And so the temperature, again, it's good to keep it between 70 and 80%. And to prevent mold, to ensure all equipment is very clean and free of soap residue. And only use plain white sugar. Don't use anything else, any other kind of sugar. And ginger is a powerful root containing active compounds like gingerol, which provides significant anti-inflammatory and antioxidant benefits. And this is, I'm just getting this off the internet today. I just read it. I'm like, if it's good for your digestion, you're good for your stomach, why not add some ginger? You know what I mean? And it makes sense, right?
Yeah, it's really good.
It's highly effective at easing digestion, reducing nausea, including morning sickness, relieving pain, and supporting cardiovascular health. Oh, so there's my kombucha.
Good benefits. Wow.
That's been really good. Really good. Interesting.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I know it's a lot. And you did send me a document.
The kombucha, the recipe.
Yes.
And I kind of included, this was basically the one really similar to what I got from Turner.
Okay. Yeah.
And if we have someone who would have a question, could they ask you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, how would you like them to call? Like, do you have an email or?
I hate email. I would rather have them have my phone number. You know what I mean? Like text.
Okay, well, if someone does, we'll put him in contact with Kim, and then she can get him in contact.
That'd be good.
With
yeah,
you.
like say exactly you want to talk to her or whatever, that's fine. But email's
okay.
Pain for me.
Okay, got it.
I miss them. Yeah. So,
well,
or like again, if they were going to email you, you know, and then you can send it to me. You can text me and say,
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Happy to do that. Yes. Thank you so much, Jeannie. You're a wealth of information on this. Really appreciate you explaining it. And you got pretty deep into it, you know, and I think it's
like it because a lot of people might be out there thinking, you know, they want to try it. And I think, not that I'm going to be the one. I'm already the sourdough girl. So
I know, but this is so much easier than sourdough. That's what I want to tell you. Oh my gosh. All you do is brew this tea. But of course, you got to make time and you got to cool it. Yeah. In the winter, you're like, yay, I can stick it out on the deck, you know? Cool it down because you're like, oh man, it's hot. And, you know, do it before you leave in the morning and let it sit. Always cover it. If you're going to have that sugar water and even just tea, I always cover it. What else was I thinking? Oh yeah. So really it's so much easier than sourdough. Sourdough is more work. This is just, you make it and then the F2 is really fun. And I think it's probably more work the more gallons you do.
Sure.
You know, 2 or 3 gallons here, and you've got like 30 bottles on your counter.
Yeah.
A week or so.
You're a kombucha queen.
Yeah, I'll post pictures on Facebook. I'm like, kombucha again. People are like, and I haven't done that I haven't done it as much, but they're probably like, geez, how much does she brew? But we love it. It's good.
That's good. That's awesome. Yeah. Again, appreciate you sharing.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Robin.
Yeah. We say we always end with have fun and live young, and we'll see you next week.
I love it.
Yep.
Take care. Bye-bye.
See ya.